Hey, how's it going? This is What Are We Reading? Um, so this is kind of, okay, I guess first things first. This is a commission from Summer Moon Soldier. Uh, if you'd like to, make a request for a story for us to cover, or, some form of online literature for us to cover, then, I mean, there's a tier on our Patreon for that. Um, So this is saved by Great.
Ow!
Ichi-Tan's having trouble with her cat.
Like always, she decided to sink her claws right into my sunburn.
Ow. This is a story by Ceara Ivory. It's a Harry Potter fanfiction because we just can't escape Harry Potter. There are a few things that are interesting. One, looking at the reviews for this one, most of the reviews are saying it's not bad. Or not, the most recent ones I've seen. Before that is the typical, okay, so this is a parody, right? Please tell me it's a parody, or, Mary Sue, declaring characters of Mary Sue, stuff like that, which, just using the Mary Sue and its, claim in and of itself, I always consider to be more lazy criticism, as it isn't actually explain what in particular is wrong with the story or characterization. But that is besides the point.
That's the point.
Yeah. So I think the best way that this can be explained is by reading the description for this story given. If Belle can find the man of her dreams in a beast, if Princess Fiona can fall in love with an ogre, and if a woman can cry at the loss of her giant gorilla king, then even Voldemort can find his own true love and be saved by grace. Is Voldemort the monster or the damsel in this analogy?
That's a good question.
Okay, apparently back then they went by Chibi-Con. Disclaimer, I do not own Harry Potter, I do not own Grace. It also is worth mentioning, I've never heard of this author before, so I have no idea what to expect going into. This is one of 3 stories that were suggested by Summer Moon Soldier. Which we might cover the other ones at a later date.
Don't eat that!
As
No!
well.
Don't eat that! Don't eat. Drop it. Drop, you little shit. No, don't eat the
fine, I won't eat it.
Don't eat that.
And depending on this, might go into more stuff she's written. I mean, I guess I'm only assuming she because of the picture and the name.
I'm sorry. I literally had to stop my kitten from eating a dead roach.
Your cat found a roach?
A dead one.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, considering that we are in the middle of moving, it does not surprise me.
That is a good point. I mean, I guess I'm only assuming that it's a she based off the name Ceara Ivory and the little avatar she's made of themselves. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, depending on what this is like, we might do more stuff written by this person in the future. I don't know.
Oh, heavens.
They've written a lot of Sonic fan fiction as of late. We haven't done plain Sonic fan fiction, just Sonic creepypastas. Yeah, disclaimer, I do not own Harry Potter, I do own Grace, as I said, or as they said, Ichi-Tan's line.
Summary. Everyone deserves their chance at true love.
Oh boy.
Even the monster like Dark Lord. That was a grammar error.
Is this gonna be... Are we picking on a child? Summer Moon Soldier, did you pay for us to pick on a child?
Yes.
Chapter 1. Voldemort loved the screams of helpless muggles. It was music to his ears. He watched with glee as the middle-aged man and woman writhed in pain.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Master, began one of his faithful servants, a woman with wild black hair. Would you like to finish them now?
Ah, Bellatrix.
These
A
are
sneer
really
appeared on his visage, and he pulled out his wand of view.
visage.
Are you sure it's not pronounced visage? I've never heard it pronounced visage.
I've heard it
I've
pronounced
heard visage.
visage. I've
I've
never
heard
heard
visage many
visage.
times.
Well, you've heard
I
it
will look it
wrong.
up to see what the official pronunciation is. Visage.
Harse.
Let me,
The harse is
Yep, it
Fat.
says visage. I pressed the pronunciation button. Let me get the mic over close to the speaker. Okay, that's not picking up. Point is, it said visage. Alright. Where the fuck am I? Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. Alright. This was the best part of all, forcefully rending apart the fabrics of one's life. How his heart soared as he thought about how much power he had. He delightfully shouted the two words and watched as the lovely green light caught the two by surprise, and their faces bore such wonderful expressions of terror. What a thrill that filled him from the inside out. Then their screams turned abruptly to blissful silence. A sadistic smile lit the old wizard's snowy complexion. Well, I'd like to say our work here is done, he stated simply, preparing to lead the way out.
Then there came the sound of a jingling outside the front door. The jingling was followed by the sound of a lock clicking. Voldemort and his followers froze in surprise. None of them had expected this. This never happened before. The door opened
No one accidentally
slowly.
walked into the crime scene?
Apparently. The door opened slowly, and in walked a young woman with chestnut hair. She hung up her coat and brushed some lint from her skirt and blouse.
Also, with the lock clicking thing, all that popped into my head was, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me!
Me. Damn fucking right.
Mom? She called out, not yet noticing anything was wrong as she went into a room just past the entryway. The sound of running water could be heard. Please don't set me up with any of your colleagues' relatives again. That David was a total pervert. The water turned off and she came walking out, still noticing nothing. Ironclad
Damn.
peripherals, this lass. I had to literally shove into the fountain before she stopped as she finally saw the Death Eaters. Hello, I didn't know we had company.
Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha.
Did we come across another satire writer? Because that's something I would put in as a joke. What?
Voldemort fingered his wand. What should he do?
Oh
he didn't have the strength for another killing curse, but he couldn't let the others know that.
I mean, he had to wait for his refractory period.
He needed to stall big time. Finally, he knew.
Fuck. I was kidding. Actually, my dear, we are not really company. We just had some business to take care of. He lifted his wand. And now we just need you. Wordlessly, he cast Sleeping Spell, taking the muggle girl off guard. I don't think that's the right phrasing. He caught her in his arms. She'll make a fine torture victim. The Potter boy should enjoy this immensely. His comment raised laughter among his men. He led the way out just after casting the dark mark into the sky.
Note. And we have the two characters somewhat meeting for the first time. This is a new take on the Voldemort meets a Muggle and finds true love storyline that I began with. Not me. Not me, I'm afraid, is officially abandoned. It will be removed. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't seem to work anymore.
This is just... Honestly, it's more simplistic than anything else so far.
You're simplistic.
Yes. Chapter 2, the next morning, the girl came to. She found herself in what seemed to be basement. I'd been there before. Except there were walls of bars around her. Been there too. What had happened to her?
Just as she was pondering what might have happened, the sound of footsteps could be heard. A short, rotund man stood before her moments later.
Sometimes in those situations because of Ichi-Tan.
Hey! Those are secret.
I don't know. It's something kind of suspect about waking up in a strange basement. Good, you're awake. He slid open the bar door. Come with me.
The girl stood and followed the strange man. Excuse me, she said politely. Could you tell me where I am and what I'm doing here?
The man answered the first question. You're at Riddle Manor.
Huh.
Oh.
Oh, she said, unsure how to continue. Again, what am I doing here? I should be at home. My parents will worry, you see. Not to be rude. It's a nice place, I'm sure. I'm just a little confused as to why I'm here.
The man continued. Your parents will not worry. They're dead.
Well.
Your bedside manner is amazing, Wormtail. Pete?
A shuddering gasp of horror reached Wormtail as he continued. And now you're a prisoner of the Dark Lord. He turned to see her reaction. Most likely, fear and sorrow. Yes, her eyes were shining with tears.
What happened to them? She asked, not caring for Wormtail's last remark. I don't know, I think the word prisoner is very concerning. Again, with Beauty and the Beast, Belle volunteered. People tend to forget that aspect. It's not really Stockholm Syndrome if you volunteer.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. This was unexpected. Didn't she understand?
Was unexpected.
Obviously. Ha. Oh, yeah, the was unexpected. Didn't she understand? Obviously, the Dark Lord had killed them. She should be frightened, begging him to help her escape, as all the other prisoners had. The Dark Lord killed them, of course. Muggles have no use in this world. You are lucky. He has decided to keep you alive for a while.
A while? Again, he looked back on the girl. He wanted to see the hatred, the anger that was also commonplace when prisoners found out that their families were dead by their master's hand. But it wasn't there. The tears he had seen before, they seemed to have vanished, save for two strays that whew, trailed her cheeks.
Eh, Ow, ow. Trail her cheeks. But don't
What?
be afraid. I will slap you in the fucking face.
Do it, you coward.
But don't be afraid, he tried to reassure her, suddenly wanting to comfort her. After all, it took a lot of guts not to plead for one's life, and she wasn't doing it.
I mean, she could be in shock.
Yep.
But a smile appeared on her face. Oh God, she's broken. Her brain is broke. Brain machine broke. Understandable. Have a nice day. Afraid? Not afraid. I'm grateful to you for being honest to me about my parents and my situation. But I'm not afraid. I... okay.
Alright.
I think the only thing that could actually allow for something like this to work would be if we actually had some insight into the character's thought process, but we don't have that, so it's just very confusing.
Oh yes. Alright. So let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Declaration.
Yeah. That declaration caught Wormtail by surprise. All prisoners were supposed to be scared to death of the Dark Lord. How would Voldemort react to this?
This is Bish Cray. Something along those lines, likely. He led her to a stone room filled with eerie green light given off by the many candles set up on the walls. In a large circle stood many figures in black cloaks and skull masks.
Okay.
Last time this happened, I got stabbed several times.
Look, I apologize. I thought they were prop knives.
I'm sorry. Someone says, hey, you okay if we sacrifice that weird dude that hangs out with you? And you say, okay, just let me bring him to you. And your first assumption is that they're going to use prop knives.
They said they were... They said it was an act. Like, why else would they have a video camera? I thought it was just a student project.
It was a snuff film. We're trying to summon a demonic lord.
You're still alive, aren't you?
Yes. They kind of didn't realize who they were summoning. They tried to sacrifice the wrong thing. Not the point. The point is that I got many knives in me.
Okay.
One of the blades kind of broke. I think that's still in there somewhere.
Whoops. The girl had quickly summed up her predicament according to what the man had told her. She remembered a lesson she learned as a child. She remembered a lesson she learned as a child. Never show anger or fear to those who hurt you. So even as she was brought before the fearsome, pale, snake-like face and peered into the fiery orbs that regarded with disdain, she stood straight with a kind, friendly expression.
This bitch cray. This person is not mentally all right.
No, never, never, never.
This is very concerning.
Oh, very concerning.
One of the men shoved her down onto the stone floor, but she did not shout in anger or pain, just stood and brushed the dirt and resulting wrinkles from her dress. She looked directly into those eyes to the astonishment of all around. What the fuck? There is something very uncomfortable about everything here.
Oh, yes.
I'm flashing back to the behind-the-scenes stuff with that terrible live-action Grinch movie in which Jim Carrey was talking about how to deal with the suit. He literally had to be taught like torture resistance tactics from a member of the CIA. And he was like, whenever I got into that state, you could literally beat me with a baseball bat, and I'd just turn over to you with a friendly expression and be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Huh. No one
Because the
spoke a
suit
word.
was that bad.
Oh, yes. Yes, it was. Anyways, so no one spoke a word for several moments, so she decided to begin. I assume that you're Voldemort?
Gasps echoed off the walls of stone. No one called the Dark Lord by name, least of all a mere mug. Where did she hear this name? Okay. There better be some explanation later.
There never is. Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Is it my line or your line? I think it's your line. They said
Yeah.
the least of all a mere muggle.
Yeah. The
Alright.
Dark Lord cocked an eyebrow and nodded, but I thought he did not have eyebrows.
It's more just the muscle of where the eyebrow would be. Just that part of his face goes up. His forehead like wrinkles like an old handbag.
Ew.
The girl grinned and extended her hand. Pleased to meet you. I'm Grace. And also, I now have the image of just fucking Voldemort doing the DreamWorks face, and I hate it.
All right then. Let's see
Yeah,
here.
the one eyebrow up, one eye narrowed.
Wait, what line did? Oh yeah, you did the pleased to meet you, right?
Yep.
Okay. The Death Eaters waited with bated breath. How could this girl behave so calmly? What would their master do?
Slowly, Voldemort took the preferred hand and shook it, unsure of how else to proceed. Are you not afraid, girl? You do not understand what is about to happen. You do understand what is about to happen, do you not?
Grace nodded. It is my guess that, understanding that you killed my mom and dad, that you're gonna do the same to me. Although I must admit, I'm at a loss as to why, but I'm not afraid, she replied with a steady voice.
Ma'am, you okay? What is it with people named Grace and not being okay?
It's a cursed name.
Apparently. Oh god, saved by Grace. It's a fucking pun. The name is Saved by Grace. The main character's name is Grace.
He he.
I wish for death. The answer clearly intrigued Voldemort, who put a hand on his chin and another on his wand. Kinky. Not the time, though.
Baby. Ha ha.
Let's see if we can't change that, shall we? He raised his wand. Crucio!
Oh, so that's what they call it nowadays.
I mean, if a writing crop's involved.
I mean, he raised his wand, right. And now we go into Grace screamed as she felt as though she were being turned inside out. Screams
I'm not
filled
mature enough for this.
room, filled the halls of the manor. Slowly, her screams became pants as the Dark Lord removed the spell. She fought
No!
to remain her footing, but not fear ever touched her face.
I do not have enough hands to count the number of times I've seen phrases or heard phrases used of like akin to I'm being turned inside out used in bad porn.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. Ugh. Uh, well, Voldemort asked, do you fear me now?
Harder. Oh, sorry,
I'm
my
pretty
line,
sure
right.
it's not a good BDSM story if it starts with actual torture and murdering of one of the character's parents by the other character. I'm gonna just say it now. I'm drawing a line on the sand. I'm putting my foot down. I don't think that's healthy BDSM. You shouldn't be knocked out and then wake up in the dungeon.
Anyways, Grace shook her head. That hurt, I will say. But I'm not afraid. She refused to be.
What? People don't talk like that. Also, I'm pretty sure that, like, the natural reactions to, like, pain are typically, like, a kind of fearful sorrow or anger or arousal, but that's slightly less common than the other two, and usually whenever you're in a certain environment. Voldemort jabbed the wand at her again.
Yeah, baby.
And again the halls were filled with high-pitched screams. Just flashing back to this one thing I saw a while back of someone just being like, I mean, if you're doing it right, honestly, it sounds like someone being murdered.
Yeah. Murder me with
Now, he shouted
your
in
wand,
maniacal.
Voldemort.
I mean, we do know that he canonically wears a garter belt and like stocking and garters because of the like behind the scenes thing with the actor who played him.
Yeah, baby.
Kinky. He shouted in maniacal delight. Wait. Kinky. Sure, she must fear him now. Do you fear me now? I can't tell if this is supposed to be satire or not. Her screams stopped suddenly, although the curse was still on her, and she painstakingly brought her green eyes up to meet his red ones. Up to his red ones, meeting them. Not gonna get into the fact that his eyes aren't red. The sight forced him to cut off the curse. A long, rough cough racked his old, frail frame. Those two powerful curses had taken a lot out of him. I always feel the need to like bring this up anytime like this sort of thing is mentioned in a Harry Potter fan fiction, but within the Harry Potter universe, it seems to be hinted that the magic system in place is based more off of skill and emotion than it is off of like reserves or energy. Based on like what's presented in the books, it never seems to be a case in which someone is physically exerting themselves whenever they cast a spell.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm crazy, but that just kind of seems to be the way that the school, like that the magic system in Harry Potter works. And I'm not sure if I cut out again.
Nope, you're still here.
Okay. I was just wondering if you had anything to say on the matter or not.
I'm still trying to process things.
It's just always kind of because I keep seeing that brought up of like this seeming thought that like magic reserves are a thing in people in the Harry Potter universe based on different fan fictions. When like even in like the final book, like Bellatrix Lestrange made the mention that like Imperius isn't really going to do anything if your heart's not in it. So it's more based off of like your psychological or emotional state than it is off of like your like a personal amount of magic you have.
True.
As well as a lot of spells, them saying that in order to cast it, like focus on a certain thought. Like Patronus being a good example. So they seem to be based more off of emotion and skill.
So talking about the Patronus, my favorite thing is like talking about like a muggle-born student coming in with a fucking velociraptor as a Patronus, and all the other muggle-born students are like singing the Jurassic Park theme song while like all the wizard like pureblood students are like, what?
Is paleontology taught in the Harry Potter universe? Like, do wizards know about that shit? Like, they aren't really taught like normal subjects. Like, the closest you get to math is arithmemancy, and I've looked into arithmemancy. It's not really math. Like, I mean, there's also wizarding history. Like, there is that. They do have to learn that. But that's like the closest you get to a normal subject that should be taught in school. Like, I understand that they should be taught different magical stuff, but they should also probably be taught, like, you know, language comprehension. Like, reading and writing, as well as, like, I don't know, maths. Maybe some art class. I don't know. Not everything needs to be specifically magic. Like, you need other life skills.
No, you don't.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Oh, okay. Anyways. Are you all right? Grace asked with genuine concern, not caring at all that she'd just been tortured.
That's not normal. It's very concerning. Like, again, like that's something that I'd have happen with a character that either the joke with them is that I'm either doing a too kinky to be tortured joke, or that this character is fucking terrifying and just shrugs off torture. We need to run. Voldemort eyed her with confusion. Her attitude bewildered him as the coughing fit subsided. You will be spared today. Lord Voldemort rewards bravery. Oh, he just kind of kills people. But you are my prisoner. Don't forget that. I can kill you at any moment. He motioned for Wormtail to do it. No balls. Motioned for Wormtail to take her away, and he dismissed the others. He needed time, lots of time, to think. Time to try and figure out this strange muggle girl.
Well then.
Oh boy. I just looked at that. That is quite the author's note. Ichi-Tan,
Why?
your line. The author's note at the bottom.
At the bottom? What?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's an. It's
Yeah.
your line.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see it for a second. Author's note. Another chapter. Hope you all liked it. I modeled Grace off of Toru from Fruits Basket. Toru is nothing like this. Fuck you.
I was gonna say I haven't read or watched Fruits Basket, but that doesn't quite sound right.
It's not.
I don't know how much torture there is in Fruits Basket. I don't think there's a lot from what I've heard. Um, okay, chapter 3. Author's explanation.
No.
That's a good sign. Grace may seem very Mary Sue, but if you read the Fruits Basket manga, you'll find that she's not much different from Toru. Also, keep in mind she is in survival mode. What she's doing is throwing him and the others so off kilter they don't know how to handle her. So there's a major stall going on. It's no fun just killing the muggles. He wants them to fear him and hear their hatred for him, oozing out from all pores first. You might want to see a doctor. But she won't fear him or hate him, so that puts a wrench in the works. But seeing as how Voldemort's such a hard nut to crack, I felt it better to tell the story from his point of view. He's sort of our Akito in a big way.
No!
Or Akito. Seeing as how Voldemort can't stand kindness from anyone. It's more that he doesn't understand it, not that he can't. Not that he doesn't stand it. Like, even in, like, Harry Potter, it was the whole thing of, like, when he saw the Malfoys all huddled together because the only things they loved really are each other. He was just like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but, like, her Voldemort is nothing like the head of the Soma clan, and this Grace is nothing like Toru. She's just fucking delusional, and oof.
What is going on?
I'm pretty sure this person's a fucking troll or just really, 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 really stupid.
I mean, I tend to avoid, like, active insults against the author because that's just kind of mean. But I don't think that you quite understand source materials, Ceara. That's not Ceara. Holy shit. My brain is melting. This story is in actuality a very loose adaptation of that manga.
No, it's not.
I mean, they did say very loose. I mean, technically speaking, 50 Shades is just a loose adaptation of Twilight. Only they didn't bring in names from characters from City of Bones. At some point, we're going to have to cover that series too, and I'm not looking forward to that. I have specific recipes for the characters, and I follow them quite well. Mentally unstable and mentally unstable. Apologies to any actually, like, mentally subnormal, not subnormal. I'm trying to think of the actual word. Non-psychonormative people? I don't know. That seems like the most appropriate word. Apologies to any non-psychonormative people out there. Grace seems to a bit up in the air because we haven't seen much of her yet. Again, this is Voldemort's POV. Oh. This better fucking go some places. Otherwise, those, like, reviews I've been seeing have some questions to answer. Again, I wouldn't say the main character is a Mary Sue, and that's not just because Mary Sue doesn't actually answer any fucking questions as to characterizations. I'd just say that the main character doesn't have much of a character. We're talking about someone whose reaction to finding out their parents died was crying for a half second and being like, okay. Like,
This does not seem right. Still there? Nope.
okay.
There you go.
You hear me now? Alright, I just fucking went off the
Yeah.
fucking deep end because of just the immediate thing that this character is making me think of is just an anime that the first episode just annoyed me to a point that I just gave up on ever trying it again.
Which anime?
It was like Okami and her 7 holy friends or some shit like that. It was the one with
Oh.
like the girl who had like the dog boxing gloves.
Huh.
But like the thing I remember is just the whole thing of like it wouldn't shut up about like, oh, she's like a strong, capable fighter, and like what it was showing us was like, oh, she's like a strong, capable fighter who doesn't back down and shit. But then like the narration wouldn't shut up about how like secretly she's actually all like afraid of like violent like people being violent towards her, and how she's actually like all like soft, sensitive, and squidgy. And it's like, great, you've just done like a stereotypical female protagonist with extra steps. This isn't interesting, this is annoying, and you're wasting my time. It was one of those things that just annoyed me, and it didn't help that like she got captured first episode by like this group of thugs, and it's like, we've seen her punching people like across the street. Don't you fucking start this shit with me. This is contrived bullshit, and you know it.
Good.
But like that's the only thing that comes to mind with this. But it's less that that's the direct characterization and more that it's what it seems to be going for, because it's talking about her putting up a front, like just earlier with that, like to throw them off. But at the same time, it's taken to like such an unrealistic degree. Like again, like you need to be like fucking trained in this shit.
Huh.
Anyway, your line.
See, that was August, nearly September. Not it was almost Christmas, and Voldemort. I think she's supposed to put now, but she put not. Anyways, not it was almost Christmas, and Voldemort was no closer to the answer to the riddle that was this grace. Try saying that 10 times fast. He
Voldemort was
learned
no
so
closer to
much.
the answer that was disgrace. Voldemort was no closer to the answer that was disgrace. Voldemort was no
You,
closer to
you
the answer
missed
that
up.
was disgrace.
You're missing a chunk of it. Because the line
Oh,
is
not it
Voldemort
was
was no
almost
closer
Christmas and
to
Voldemort was no closer to the answer to the riddle that was disgrace. Not it was almost Christmas and Voldemort was no closer to the answer to the answer. Oh my god, wait. To answer to the answer. Holy shit, I missed that. It's like whenever there's two these. Okay. Not it was almost Christmas and Voldemort was no closer to answer to the riddle that was disgrace. Not it was almost Christmas and Voldemort was no closer to the answer to the riddle that was disgrace. Not it was almost Christmas and Voldemort was no closer to the answer to the riddle that was disgrace.
Stop!
Not it was almost Christmas and
Stop!
Voldemort was no closer to the answer that was to the fuck. I got four. I got four. Or three. One of the two.
He learned so much about her from his followers. Like, for instance, her biological parents had been killed in a car crash when she was very young, and the couple that he killed were really her adopted parents.
That doesn't make it better. I'm gonna say it right now. No romance should ever start off with one of the love interests murdering the other one's parents, unless said parents were like actually like fucking abusive dickheads. And even then, it should be a character study of like a kind of unhealthy dynamic. I'm saying right now that just outright murder is not how these things should start if you're not doing a character study of an unhealthy dynamic. Holy fucking shit. As for his followers, it seemed that they were growing quite friendly with the girl. Each of them took it in turn to take her necessities to her, and each of them got a chance to speak with her. For some reason, Bellatrix Lestrange would spend entire nights down there. Voldemort still wasn't quite sure why. I really care about women, says the person who writes a story in which the lead, villain, rival, and best friend are all male. Anyway, and it seemed that she had quite a gift with words, and each time the one sent down would always come back up looking more at ease and cheerful after those long chats. Especially Bellatrix Lestrange. She always seemed like she was kind of blushing whenever she came back up. Is your line. Ichi-Tan?
Yep,
Is your line.
I'm coming. I know. This is
Not the
a
time.
problem. What?
What?
Shut the fuck up. This is a problem, he said to himself. If she remains, and this is allowed to continue, then they will become more loyal to her than to me. They will turn on me, betray me, all of them, against me. I would stand a chance. Voldemort. Honored.
Well, at least he knows he would stand a chance, partly because they can't kill him without destroying his Horcruxes. Wait. Are they so starved for attention that they'll just turn to anyone who shows them the least bit of kindness? If so, you're not running a very good ship here, Voldy. There was a rap at on his chamber door, and Wormtail peered in. Master, I have brought your morning tea. He welled the tea car in and set up a china saucer and cup and poured the tea and added 2 lumps of sugar just the way his master liked it. He offered it to the Dark Lord. There's just something very funny to me about the fact that apparently Voldemort takes his tea with 2 lumps of sugar. Always that way.
Ahem. Voldemort reached to take the cup, but stopped as he noticed a deep purple scarf wrapped around his servant's neck. Where did you get that?
Honey, where are my pants? Gone was the usual fear and trembling from his weak-minded servant. Wormtail simply replied, "The scarf? It was a gift from Miss Grace. She made each of us one for Christmas. She made Bella and Narcissa stoles." Did you bring her the yarn? And like the little crochet thing, or like knitting needles.
Apparently so.
Did you smuggle yarn into the Dark Lord's stronghold? I must know.
I think the story broke you.
I might just be writing the high of like the fucking end of Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles. But also what?
Yeah, that might be a thing. Okay. Voldemort drank the tea in one gulp and stood up. Okay, enough is enough. I'm going to take care of her right now. He placed the cup back on the tea tray and walked out the door. The nerve of the girl. Even stealing away his most loyal servant. How dare she? Well, she was going to pay. He was going to be rid of her today.
He pulled out a gun. He stomped down the stairs to the cell, wand in hand. Not the playtime, Voldy. Put that back in your robes. He saw her knitting something, a rather large something. She sang softly to herself, "As long as there's a Christmas, I truly believe." She was so involved in her knitting and singing that she didn't notice Voldemort there.
He was tempted to just do it and be done with it. But a nagging in his head told him to at least ask her the question foremost in his mind. Ahem.
She looked up and positively beams at seeing him. Ted says, "Hello, was wondering if you were ever going to come see me." "Hello, Governor."
Hello, Governor.
"Hello, Governor."
That smile. That's
That
what he hated the
smile.
most about her. The same
That's
smile
where the trouble
from the
began.
first day. He couldn't stand that. You really don't fear me, do you? He asked her, her smile throwing him off kilter. You don't even flinch at the sight of me.
Again, this would be something that would be kind of like a nice comedy moment, or just like a nice character moment, if she hadn't have been previously tortured. Like, just imagine, like, being some big bad, and, like, you go down to check on the prisoner, and they smile looking, and, like, they just look at you and smile like, "Oh, hey there," while they're knitting a scarf. That could actually make for a funny scene. I'm half tempted to actually do that with a character, because I have a few that would.
Do it.
Alright, that's going to be a very interesting Tony scene. Grace shook her head. "No, I don't. And why should I flinch? I don't understand." She said "You got hit by the Crucio curse twice."
You fucking...
This is like
What?
you're like you're a muggle. You have no idea about magic, and suddenly this man points a stick at you when you're feeling the most horrible pain in your life. You should not be this calm.
You realize how you just said all of that, right?
Pointed a.
He pointed a massive stick at you, and
I
you
never
felt
said
pain.
massive. I never said massive. You are shoving something down my throat right there, and it's the word massive. You're shoving massive down my throat. Stop ramming massive into my mouth. Give me a chance to breathe. Fucking hell. It just said stick.
He stammered. He actually stammered. My face and my eyes. Everyone is frightened away from me by my face alone.
I don't have a nose. Isn't that weird? My brow ridges are freakishly large. Children look at me and they cry. Actual thing that happened behind the scenes, and I find it hilarious. Like the actor was in like full makeup, and like one of the like members of like the staff of like production or whatever, their kid was there,
Oh no.
and like, and so like the kid's there, and he just looks at the kid, sneers, and the kid breaks down crying, and then he just like, huh, and he like just walks over to set.
Just
Like,
like,
guess it works.
yes it. Okay.
Her
It was
her
like
brow
really,
furrowed.
really.
Was
It was like really, really weird.
was
Is that in the live action Beauty and the Beast, the dude who played Voldemort plays the Beast, and then Hermione plays Belle.
Belle.
Yeah.
I gotta say, they did some amazing CGI work getting her into the scenes. You'd almost believe she was really there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that movie was just bleh. Um, her brow furrowed. Not now. That just seems mean to judge someone based on how they look. She clearly did not agree. You're different. Everyone is different. The man tortured you. It's just like the fucking Schumacher fucking Phantom of the Opera all over again. Granted, every adaptation of that that novel, for some reason, also decided to remove the only person of color.
Yep.
Which, oh boy. And then there's that fucking like spin-off book written by someone else that's like just the. But apparently, people have decided to accept that as canon.
You're cutting out.
Lovely. That's just what I needed.
You're still
Yeah, man,
you're still cutting out.
That better?
Kind of.
Because if not, I can't really do anything about it.
You're better.
Okay. Fucking line. Wait. Like you can't, but yeah, you can't be a spouse of this shit after the person has tortured you.
So what was it?
Like I
Voldemort.
know that, like, oh,
What?
sorry.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, I know that, like, most professionals are dubious on whether or not Stockholm Syndrome is an actual thing. But this is what this is starting to seem like. Because this is also a well, no, actually, there are a few things, because it was kind of, Lindsay Ellis actually went into it in her, fucking video essay on, like, one of the Disney video essays she's done. About like how any of the symptoms, like just about none of the symptoms attributed to Stockholm Syndrome are stuff actually exhibited by Belle in the animated Beauty and the Beast. Basically, like, in this situation, however, there is the whole thing of like she is unable to leave. However, she is also like standing up to her captor, which is not something that someone with Stockholm Syndrome is going to do. I don't know where I was going with that. My brain is mush.
Your brain's mush.
Yes, generally.
Uh,
I believe it's your
uh,
line.
yeah. I was trying to, and then you went off into a weird little tangent.
Yes.
Voldemort jumped at those words. No one had ever said that to him.
If no one ever told him that everyone's different, there is something very wrong with his childhood. More than there already was. She
I mean,
continued.
he was raised he was a child of a rape drug,
Yeah,
and was raised in an
that
orphanage.
also caused
So,
him. I mean, orphanages aren't inherently bad, it's just when they're run poorly. Uh, but said circumstances of his birth also caused it to where he's incapable of feeling compassion towards others. So
yeah.
there's that. She continued. And to be scared seems to be a waste of whatever valuable time I have left. Fear is an excellent motivator. You've made it clear that you intend to kill me. I want to make good on my good use of my short time left. She knitted as she spoke. And before you ask, no, I don't hate you either. Yet another waste of time. I refuse to wallow in self-pity over it. I'm sorry, did he fucking kidnap a Buddha?
Yep.
Was she actually just like back home visiting after being at a Tibetan monastery?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Like, that is the only way you could explain this characterization. Is it turns out that she's actually, in fact, like, reached full enlightenment. Somehow.
Okay, so let's take a look here. Alright, so he wondered how she figured out his next question, and her
Well, you see,
answer.
it's because she's a JoJo.
And her answer, it was a good one. Well, now his questions were all answered. It was time to be done with her, and he tightened his hand around his wand. Doesn't that hurt?
Whoa! I mean, it depends on how you do it. Sometimes you need to get a good grip.
um, but he could not make his arm lift to cast the curse. Why not? Why wouldn't his body obey his wishes? He had to stall, or she'd think he was crazy just standing there. What is that? He asked.
I, oh, there is some shit to. Your next question will be, do you hate me? Uh, Grace answered, your Christmas present, but it's not quite done yet. You'll have to wait until Christmas to find out. So you just gave everyone else their Christmas presents early then?
Yes, because she's a cunt like that.
Dick. Well, now my shins hurt. Your line.
That settled it. He couldn't go through with it yet. If he did, he'd never find out what it was, he told himself. He'll kill her then. He could wait until Christmas morning. He's just like a child. Like, I want to know what you got me.
What the okay. That's where we're gonna leave that. Summer Moon Soldier, what the fuck have you gotten us into? Uh, but yeah, that's where we're gonna leave that. Special thank you to Summer Moon Soldier and Destiny Barretts for supporting us on Patreon. If you like what we do and would like to support us, then consider going down to that link in the description and donating to our Patreon page. Any amount you send is helpful. And that's gonna be it for this. See you guys next time. Bye bye.